In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating a no-code declarative approach to publishing your REST-based microservices as GraphQL using the Tyk operator and Tyk's universal data graph. Does that sound like fun? Let's get started. So for this particular demonstration, I'm going to be using REST countries as an example. And what you can see here with this REST API call, we can hit this endpoint where we call US, enter, and we can get information from the US. Let's have a look at GB, and then let's have a look at DE. And you'll see that we've got a bunch of fields here. So we're going to be recreating this part of the API, or maybe a subset of it because it's a little bit long, as a GraphQL API using the Tyk operator. So how do we go about doing this? Here I've got a YAML file, and what we need to do is we need to create a kind. And the kind is an API definition. And the API version is tyk.tyk. Cool. So my ID is already telling me what I need to do and helping me fill things out for me. So that's great. We need to give it a name. So metadata name. And our name can be REST countries to GraphQL demo. Doesn't need to be that long, but hey ho, that's what it is. And then we can give it a specification. And let's give our API a name. This is like a human visible name for Tyk dashboard. Obviously, you can use the open source gateway for this. You don't need the dashboard to do so. So REST countries to GraphQL demo. And what I'll do here, I can copy that. Our protocol is protocol is HTTP. Proxy target URL. We'll leave that blank because we're going to be, with Universal Data Graph, the idea is that potentially you'll have multiple target URLs that we'll be composing together to expose a single API. But I'll show you what this means later on. And a listen path. So let's paste that there. And then the API needs to be active, and we won't bother with authentication. So what we need to do is configure the GraphQL engine now. So we can set GraphQL enabled true, and execution mode is going to be the execution engine. And for the schema, we need to write or design our GraphQL schema. What does this API look like? So what we want to do is give it a query. And in our query, we're going to return a country. And when we pass the country code, which is this country code here, so and this is going to be of type string, we're going to return a country type. So then we're going to define the country. And let's have a look. So a country has a name. And a country has a top level domain. And this is looks like a slice of string. And a country has an alpha 2 code and an alpha 3 code, which are both strings. Let's see, anything else particularly? So we've got a capital of a string, and we've got some alt spellings as well. I won't bother with the rest because because otherwise I'm just going to end up implementing this whole thing, and I don't really want to do that. It's just a quick demonstration. So let's call this calling codes, which is a slice of string. And let's have a look. We've got a capital and alt spellings. Okay, so we've got our schema for our type country now. So now what we need to do is configure our type field configurations. So here's our type field configurations, and we've got a bunch of stuff here. It might seem to be a little bit confusing for you, but I'll be explaining these to you as we go along, I guess. So the kind. What is the kind of data source that we're calling? It's a JSON data source, HTTP JSON data source. Okay, and what we want to do is configure this data source. So we need to perform a GET request to what's the URL. So the URL is here, and I can paste that in here. And instead of DE, because we don't want to hard code the country code in there, we want this to be dynamic, based upon the arguments that were injected into the query. So using the Go text template syntax, I can then take the body of the query, and then I can query the arguments dot code, and that's the name of this argument here. And from here, the type name. This is a query, because this is the type name that we're referring to, and the field name, this is the country field name. And for the mapping, we can say, well, we can just disable it, because we don't need to remap anything at all, because it's just on the root object here that we're querying, so the path is an empty string. What we're also going to do is enable the playground, and the path is /playground. Okay, so if I save this now, and we can see we've got this REST countries to GraphQL demo, let's apply this. So, or just show you that I'm not cheating. I can send my request here. You can see I've already got it pre-populated from a demo before. Not found /playground, and you can see nothing's working. Let's apply that. So K apply -f countries /rest to GraphQL. Apply that, and then we can say K get Tyk APIs, and we can see we've got our API which has been created here. Now let's refresh this page, and we'll see we've now got the GraphQL playground, and I can write my query, and we've got my country, and I want to pass in a code. Maybe my code is GB for Great Britain, and from the country I want the name, I want the alternative spellings, and I want the capital of the country and the dialing codes for the country. Let's have a look and see if this works. Boom, all done. So to summarize, with no code, we were able to take an existing REST-based API, define a GraphQL schema, and tell the GraphQL execution engine how to map those the REST response into the GraphQL schema. We then published that API as a GraphQL API and exposed it a GraphQL playground to enable our users to interact with it. So in a follow-up video, I'm going to be building up on this example, enabling us to showing you how we can stitch different REST and GraphQL-based services together. And then what we're going to do is secure that GraphQL API using a Tyk security policy in a similar kind of methodology. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much.